There is increased urgency to gain visibility through the supply chain by measuring, monitoring, and managing supply. A key cost driver for oil and gas is that these three chains, the physical supply chain, the financial transactions, and regulatory compliance, are all separate, and yet they need to stay closely aligned. That alignment is largely done by humans, agents, checkers, and brokers, and they're all impacted by the pandemic. Market leaders sense the power of distributed ledger technology to play a role in achieving that alignment, dramatically lowering cost and speeding up the supply chains. Trusted connectivity lowers cost. And today, we're going to show you how. Wood Mackenzie analyzes the average production break-even cost by basin. And at a price of $20 a barrel and a demand of 80 million barrels per day, the basins to the left here are broadly economic, and those to the right are broadly uneconomic. And the US shale, by the way, is this big gold box.
Digital innovations are the key solution to the problems of the pandemic and the problems faced by the oil and gas industry. Us at Finwood have certainly witnessed how in the past weeks, in just a matter of weeks, the pandemic has firmly brought digital innovation and digital strategy to the very top of the business priorities. We're demonstrating that in today's world, this is no longer a nice to have, this is an operational necessity. And we will see how structures are shifting, how business are changing the ways they work, particularly bringing on board what is called, let's say, what is known generally as new ways of working, right? I think we're going through the birth of a new digital reality. Other examples of digital transformation can be providing employees and stakeholders with visibility over their industrial processes and the raw materials in their production processes, allowing or enabling the traceability of the assets in production across all areas of the business, so from upstream to midstream and downstream. These are many areas in which, again, digital transformation makes a lot of sense, and digital technologies are an excellent fit for the oil and gas industry. And again, when we look at how this is going to work, we certainly need a technology that is transparent, that is trusted, and that will allow the collaboration of multiple parties in these complex oil and gas supply chains, right? Blockchain technology certainly ticks a lot of these boxes. A recent report by the World Economic Forum defines blockchain as the best thing to happen to supply chains since standardized containers, right? And this is incredible for us, right? It's an incredible, let's say, a description of what blockchain can do for these industries and the impact that it's going to have in the years to come. I'm also very proud to say that Finwood and the work we've been doing in the oil and gas and aviation industries has been featured in this recent blockchain toolkit by the World Economic Forum. So just to understand a little bit what we do, right, when it comes to delivering blockchain in industrial ecosystems. Sadly or mistakenly, blockchain has been associated with high adoption costs and with huge barriers for entry, right? And I'm here to prove that that is not the case, that is not right, that we've actually created a product, an ecosystem in which the adoption of blockchain technology can be simplified, can be accelerated, and we can focus on delivering value to the customers very quickly as we start small and then scale these solutions in their organizations, right? We do this through a product Finwood has created, a product we call Marco. Marco is a blockchain middleware and an application suite, right? So just to simplify this a little bit, it's basically a vehicle for the delivery of blockchain technology and applications to fulfill specific business requirements, right? And the way Marco does this is by leveraging three key pillars of our product, right? It does it by delivering out-of-the-box enterprise software solutions. So what this means is, forget about the complexity. Marco will create an abstraction on top of the complexity of the technology and actually transform that and configure that into your business processes, into your language, and into something that you can easily operate and interact with it. Marco focuses, and it's a fan of customers' ROI and business value, right? So we are firm believers that implementations need to start small. We need to make sure that the business case makes sense and that we're actually generating a return for the customer before we start scaling those solutions, right? It is clear today that the most successful solutions and the most successful blockchain implementations are those that start small, that focus on business value and scale after that has been validated, right? And then from a more technological aspect, Marco is blockchain agnostic, right? So what we mean by this is that it doesn't matter what the underlying technology is, right? So there are many options when it comes to the backbone of a blockchain application, right? And what we're saying here is there are many ledgers and many protocols, right? But what we've realized is that these technologies, these underlying frameworks, are at risk of being commoditized, right? And we do not want our customers to be tied down to a specific ledger technology, but rather we can allow them, and we want to allow them and their solutions to evolve and to grow as the underlying and the emerging blockchain technology also grows and evolves, right? That's pretty much what we want, let's say, to focus on, providing flexible, easy to use software applications for industrial processes.
Repsol's strategy since 2017 is based on 4 main pillars: technology, talent, digitalization, agile and efficient corporation. That's why Finboot and BlockLab has been part of a transformation program who has been leading for technology and corporate venture area inside Repsol, who at the end of the day is responsible for testing new technologies, but also testing new ways of working, digitalization, and is responsible also to offer the company new ways to reduce the cost of our supply chains and other process. No? And why Finboot and why BlockLab? Because introducing new challenge to our process through working with a startup has allowed Repsol co-creating with internal talent, and this is very important for us. We have adapted our process to the new technologies through digitalization, and in this specific case, we have very unknown technology for us, at least for Repsol, that was a blockchain 3 years ago. So we have get our goal to reduce, not only to reduce, but our cost, but also improve traceability and immutability of our information and our process. And thanks to this, we work in a new and more efficient approach to achieve our goals. We work in an agile way, and we have introduced in Repsol a new relation with different kind of companies as a startup. And in this case, I think Marco has been the key product, because he has in the origin this soul. I mean, they always is looking for to be a product who make friendly a very complicated technology, because it's not easy to understand blockchain. You can enter the internet and you can see a lot of videos, and it's not easy to understand. Okay. Courage. If you are not willing to risk the usual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. in a corporate, you have to push, you have to be courage, because if not, it's very difficult to achieve a goal in a disruptive project. I have been involved in this from the beginning. This has been the first step, but for sure it's not going to be the last. Repsol Tech Lab and Finwood are working right now together, looking for new business case to implement blockchain and Marco in our supply chain and another process. I mean, digital identity, audit, etc. I encourage you to believe in blockchain, because for us it's going to be one of the most important disruptive technologies in the next 10 years. Due to this project, we have awake the curiosity of areas like legal, audit, and so it's important.
Yeah, just raising attention to the art of the possible makes people think.
So from the internet of information to the internet of value, what benefits will blockchain bring to the post-COVID era?
I think both of us can answer this question, but from my side, for us, blockchain could be the main enable technology to explore new business cases of traceability and digital identity, to reinforce health and safety protocols post-COVID, because things are going to change and are going to change a lot. And we have the opportunity with blockchain to change the process and to be more efficient in general, in all the identity processes, access, traceability of people, etc.
How do you link a physical asset like a barrel of oil or finished product to the digital representation of that asset? How is that done?
Yeah, sure. So this is one of the challenges, right? And the way we see it is as a journey. The way we are doing it today is by using QR codes, right? So every physical asset on the origin point gets identified with a QR code. That unique QR code is part of the asset's identity or the asset's data, let's say, that gets traced on the blockchain ecosystem. As that asset moves, the way you, let's say, call information is by accessing that QR code, right, and registering more data to it. We are seeing how this evolves, right? So we are able to start introducing smarter devices, IoT devices or NFC chips, so that we can start strengthening the bond between the physical and the digital, right? But we got to start somewhere, and that's part of the conversation of, again, we can't have all of the pieces aligned before you hit the start button. You start, you're already gaining value. A QR code allows you to manage an ocean of information compared to what you've been doing up until now. And it's not an inflexible solution. It's something that will evolve as we move forward.